Hey guys, this is Eric Bramlett. I am the broker owner of Bramlett Residential. So I'm shooting this video on a Friday, casual Friday. How do I get more casual than I usually am? Well, casual Friday, you wear a graphic tee and a hat. So the reason I'm shooting a video on a Friday is because Mary Tran at Independence Title shared some really interesting graphs, some line graphs with us today, and I wanted to share them with you guys and also talk about what they mean to me. So I'm going to share them now, and we'll just chat about each graph that we see. So the first chart that you see is the Austin MSA median sales price, and this shows you what price has done over the past 5 years, 2018 to present. Interesting graph. It doesn't show us much that we don't already know. Prices peaked in May, and they're down roughly 10% since May, and we can see that right here. Same thing when we look at average sales price. We see that they peaked in April, May, and they're down roughly 10% since then. Where it really gets interesting is when we move over to the number of sales. If you want to look at this and think in terms of seasonality and in terms of normal versus abnormal years, 2018 and 2019 were the last two quote-unquote normal years that we've had. 2020, the pandemic hit. You can see everything started tracking normally, and then there's a massive drop in March, April, and then a huge spike, and then that lasted well into the school year, which is really abnormal. 2021, same thing happened, stayed really strong, and then strong through the school year. 2019 and 2018, we see a drop right in August, and that's what we always see in the market. As kids go back to school, people become less interested in buying houses, and the whole market just starts declining. When we go to 2022, you can see that sort of school year drop actually happened this year in May, June. We had this precipitous decline in June and July of sales. We felt that in April, May, because that's when the contracts started dropping down. What's interesting here is that it peaked back up a little bit in August, and it looks like, and the hope is that we're going to flatten out from here, as we generally do after we see that big school year drop. Moving along to months of inventory, this is another really interesting one because most years we don't see months of inventory change very much. 2020 was a very abnormal year. We started out with normal inventory, and then it just was a straight line decline when the market started heating up from the pandemic. Every other year, 2021 stays pretty consistent. 2019, 2018 stays pretty consistent. 2022, let me move my face real quick. So you can see in January it starts with almost no inventory, like almost none. And then it starts peaking up in March, starts peaking up in April and May. This is when properties quit going under contract at the same rate that they have previously. May, June, July, it spikes, gets really huge. And then in August, you can see that inventory between July and August doesn't change very much. So it looks like it's starting to flatten out, which is a good thing. We don't want to see an insane market again, but we'd love to see some stability. So the last chart we're going to look at, it's the sales volume. Sales volume doesn't mean a thing to consumers, and they shouldn't care about it. Why would any homeowner, why would any buyer or seller care about the total dollar volume being transacted every year? Who it does matter to are real estate professionals, agents, lenders, title. We all care a lot about how much is being transacted because our jobs depend on it. What's really, really interesting here is that it feels like business has fallen through the floor. That's what it feels like. By the numbers, we have the same dollar volume being transacted this year in August that we did in 2020. How could that be? Units are way down. Dollar volume hasn't changed a whole lot. We're only off by one extra year. The reason this is because prices have gone up so considerably. So we have fewer units selling, but at much higher prices, means that the dollar volume being transacted hasn't changed a whole lot. So big question is, what do we think is going to happen next? Well, what's not on these charts is the number of contracts, number of properties going under contract. What we've tracked internally and what we see is that the past 2 months have been relatively stable. In July, we saw a decline of 25% in the number of properties going under contract, and in August, we saw that number drop by 23%. Right now, it's tracking to roughly 22 to 23% for September. We don't know how that will finish, but if it continues tracking at 22 to 23%, even if it goes to 25%, we're going to say, okay, great, this is where it's stabilized. It's bottomed out at roughly 25% year over year decline, and we can expect that through the end of the year. Hope you guys find this helpful. I obviously love numbers. I think other people do. Some people probably don't love them quite as much as I do. But if we can help you with your situation in any way, shape, or form, please shoot me an email, give me a call. You can find all of our information on the website. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Hope you have an awesome weekend, and I hope you get to wear some casual clothes over the weekend. Take care.